said, well, keeping it real with Wanda B. Oh, she's the real deal, keeping it real for real. Keeping it real with Wanda B. Oh, all inclusion, no confusion. He said, she said, clearing up the drama with Wanda.
Hey, it's me, Wanda B, and you are tuned into He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. It is my Sunday. It is a fun day, and for you today, woo-wee, it's going to be fun. Now, I'm going to be honest. The show topic is, how comfortable are you discussing sex? And I'm going to say I'm not really. My little Catholic school self, they really did a number on me. So I can't say that I'm as comfortable in public talking about this subject. So this is going to be a fun day because I have brought to you none other than, see, I'll come just by myself when I do these kind of topics because I know I'm not ready for it all. So I brought the lady who ready. I love me some Sean Wilson. She is a certified sexologist. She's an educator and trainer with Bedroom Candy. She's the one. I'm telling you, well, she can so matter-of-factly, by the time we get done discussing this, y'all gonna be like, I told y'all, be prepared. Get your, if you got your pearls on, you may have to clutch them today because she will go there. She's just not afraid. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bring her on. I want you to share this show because it's gonna be fun. You're gonna learn something. You know what? One thing is she's a certified sexologist, but she's also, like she always says, she's an educator. She gives the real sex education. So none other than on the stage, I have with us Sean. Come on in. We're gonna hello. Hello, beautiful. I just love her. She is part of the He Said, She Said team. I met her through Becoming Dateable, who is, I didn't plug in, so you're not getting my sound. Y'all, you know, I got so excited to have Sean in. I need to do one thing. Give me one good thing. So IntellectualRadio.com gets plugged into this conversation with us and our people on YouTube and Spreaker and who else? Everywhere that you listen to a podcast, you're going to be able to hear this when I actually plug in. So here we go. I'm going to plug in once I see where it goes. There we go. Should I start over again or just keep going where we are? You tuned in to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. I have with me none other than the certified sexologist herself, Sean Wilson, educator and trainer for Bedroom Candy. So I'm going to tell you what my little brother said to me. He said, what's the show topic? What you talking about tomorrow? I said, I have a certified sexologist coming on. He said, sexologist? He said, where you go to school to learn that at? He was like, where do sexologists, he was like, I never even knew that existed. So I said, oh, she's one and she's a bad mama jamma. So let's start off with answering his question to me. Sexologist, like, who decides, I think I'm going to like teach this about sex? Like, where does that come from? Where did it start? Where did you learn? I know that was 3 questions. Let's go with.
Good question, because I think everyone in some form or fashion is an educator, right? We have these conversations all the time in secret. We never talk about them. But even though people are uncomfortable, it's something that everybody wants to know about. I was in the salon industry for almost 30 years. I owned a salon. Clients would come in. What do we talk about in the salon? Sex, relationships, things like that. So I think we're naturally educators or information grabbers in some way. When I got involved with Bedroom Candy 8-9 years ago, one of our first conventions, one of the keynote speakers was Dr. Rachel Ross. She is part of that show, The Doctor. She's a gynecologist. She's a sexologist. And she was like, you know what, you need to look further into this, because at our parties, when we do these parties, people really think we're just there, you know, trying to teach you how to be a freak, but we're giving all of this education about your body and arousal and the same things between you and the man and how to have these better, great experiences and be comfortable with yourself, that she was like, you know, that's what you're doing anyway. You might as well get paid for it. So yes, I did go back to school for it. It was almost 2 years. You learn everything from dealing with people, from breakups to grief and illnesses, because a lot of things affect us sensually and sexually, right?
Right.
How do you deal with that? How do you manage that? You may not even know that that is what's going on with you. So until you sit down and really talk to someone and find out, why are you not having satisfying, incredible, earth-shattering sexual experiences all the damn time? Why aren't you? Right. So we have to kind of dig a little bit to see, okay, where were you? What did you like? Especially couples, they drift apart and become roommates, in their marriages and don't know why. So I'm here to bring you back into the present of where you want to be and where you want to go. Ooh. I'm not a therapist. I'm just here for your present moment to make sure that right now you're getting everything you want out of your life on a sensual, intimate, and sexual experience.
Ooh, I liked how that sound. I mean, and right now, she said, well, we're not doing no relationship therapy. I'm taking you through how to have a pleasant experience in that moment.
That's that moment. Look, the bad experience is bad. It's old. It's over. Let it go.
So we're going to learn today. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I had people send in questions.
Okay.
So because as much as we have sex, do we really know? Like, it's weird that it's something that not everyone does, but everybody should be doing, because it's healthy, right? Sex is healthy, right?
Very, very healthy for you. Look, we think that we're really craving. Here's it. We do need the connection of a partner. That's why I'm a big proponent of just having healthy monogamous relationships. I think there is no better connection than when you are truly engaged in one person. We know that. I don't care how much we try to pretend that now, men in their heads with that silly, we are just hunters out here. Stop it. You're just scared to commit because it feels so good to you that, you're just scared to be there, right? But you do need the connection, but also we crave the orgasm. Ooh. Right? It's not really that we're craving to be with someone. We crave the orgasm because of all of the health benefits that's associated with it.
There are health benefits associated with
an orgasm.
Okay, like what?
Well, one is pleasure, right? One is you get to sleep really good at night. Right? You put you to bed really nicely, right? But from a medical side, it flushes bad bacteria from your vaginal wall. So like if you had a yeast infection or something like that, orgasms flush out that bad bacteria, right? It's a natural pain reliever for cramps and migraines, right? It helps with your digestion.
Stress reliever.
Stress reliever, right? So there's all of these benefits on the male side. It helps with prostate health. So, all of these things really comes from this orgasm. And so you should really have them 3-4 times a week.
You should have orgasms 3 or 4 times a week.
Yes, and preferably with someone, because that connection brings on another energy of hormones in your body. But yes, 3 or 4 times a week. Yes.
Oh, learning something new. Okay. So that one statement you just made, it will lead into one of my first questions that was presented to me. So one of those questions were, can someone actually masturbate too much? Like you did say, preferably with someone, but what if they're not, that twice a week is by themselves? Can you do that too much?
You can't. So what happens is people are afraid to masturbate a lot for a lot of different reasons. One, they're in their head about it, right? Religious beliefs. They feel guilty afterwards. Don't stop them from doing it, but they do feel guilty afterwards. So I have this joke that, do you ever feel like your dead ancestors are watching you, right? But that's just...
Oh, now you just put one in my head I didn't have. Now I'm thinking of grandma Sadie watching me. Oh, Lord.
But people, a lot of times people think about, too much masturbation. No, you will not get addicted to it. The only time it's too much is if it starts to stop you from living your life. right? And so that's on the addiction side of like, you can't leave out the house without masturbating, or you can't go to sleep without masturbating. You can't end one night without it. That's when it's a problem. No, it will not desensitize you. The only reason that masturbation, especially if you are masturbating with stimulation like toys, is because you don't use lubrication. People like dry rubbing. Never dry rub yourself. It's like sliding down the water slide without the water. Stop. Don't do it. Right? Add some lubrication to your life. And masturbate on your back instead of your stomach.
Masturbate on your back instead of your stomach.
Why?
Why?
Like to grind onto it. So that means you're putting a lot of pressure onto the clitoris. Right? I'm talking to women. But if you masturbate on your back, you have to just take it. It's like getting oral. Right? If a man is giving you oral, you land on your back, and especially if you can't touch his hands now. If you touch his head, you can't touch him. You got to take it. How intense that orgasm is, and it's very quick. Right? So masturbate on your back and use a lot of lubrication. For a man, I always tell them again, don't dry rub. Get your sleeve, honey. It's warm, it's wet, it's all of that. And no, you can't do it too much. Masturbate every day if you want to. Enjoy.
Now, I've heard many men say this. We have a group, He Said, She Said. It's on Facebook. In this group, this has come up before in the group. But please join the group. We have these kind of conversations all the time, and relationship questions as well as these kind of questions. And they will say, oh, they were with a woman and she didn't reach an orgasm, and he believes it's because she's always using her toys. So you can No.
I know they would like to believe that.
Okay, so I'm gonna let it be known. Like I said, I didn't grow up in that household that freely discussed sex. Just did not. In fact, I will say my stepmother, I was over her house recently, and she was telling me how she gave my little sister the sex talk. And I was like, oh, you said that? And I was like, oh, wow, you really gave it raw. I mean, she gave the raw talk. And I was like, wow, I kind of like that. I was like, I think that it takes the stigma off of it, or the guilt and the shame when it's presented to you in that kind of way. What do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. When you are centrally confident and sexually confident, and this is not about the act of sex, just when you know who you are as a young girl, a young boy, right? What your boundaries are, what healthy relationships look like, what consent looks like, sounds like, you make better decisions, and you make better sexual decisions. When you don't know something, you become more curious, right? So you go to school and you learn about what? STDs. If you have sex, these are the things that's going to happen. STDs. You might get pregnant. You learn all of these things, but you don't learn about the pleasure of it, which is natural, right? And then you go home and you learn what don't do it again. So in school, you got don't do it. You go home and you have don't do it. Then you go to church and you're just going to hell if you do it. You're confused, but you're still curious because you're watching your friends over here kissing and grinding and saying, oh, how that felt so good. What felt so good? But you don't know about it because you've never talked about it with your parents. Where are you going to get the information from if adults don't talk to their kids about it? Right now, you don't have to go into any detail. Just give them the question that we like to talk a lot. Whatever they ask you, just answer that particular question for them and keep it moving. That's my advice to parents. Whatever they ask you, just answer that. Don't go into any details and don't ask why they want to know. Just give them the answer.
That, I think that's the hard part for some parents, is like they want to, I know I was taught, they want to ask, why are you having sex? And then it becomes this thing that you're not comfortable actually sharing them with your parents. Right. So I agree. If you can help yourself not make it this mystical thing or they're afraid to talk to you. And I had more of the just refrain versus explaining anything about it. Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
And is that,
that's a horrible thing to tell someone, just because they're going to do it.
It's
It's just
natural.
going to happen. And if they have not had any conversations about it, they won't see it coming. Right? And so you get yourself caught up in really bad situations, especially as young people and some old. But as young people, you get yourself caught up in a lot of trick bags because you never saw it coming. And so you need to have these conversations with them often and as young as possible.
In your profession as a certified sexologist and also an educator and a trainer with Bedroom Candy, what's the thing you see the most that we're not knowledgeable about? What is the one thing that you find you're like amazed that most people don't actually know this?
Their own bodies. When you're on these groups, right? We're in these groups. We're always talking about sex. Conversations come up, and like the conversation of needing the size matter conversation, and I'm like, size doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. If it mattered, we wouldn't have lesbians, right? So obviously, if the objective is to get to an incredible orgasm, it's not about the size, it's more about the technique. And so what is it that you're doing from foreplay to afterplay to make sure that experience is wonderful? And it shouldn't even matter who your partner is. If you have a good connection with your partner, that's why I say I'm just a big proponent of just great relationships. Because when you're with someone that you care about and you feel good with and they make you feel great and your body, shit, I can sit right here and give myself an orgasm just thinking about it. If you know your body. If you don't, you relying on your pleasure from someone else. Your pleasure has to come from within. You have to know what turns you on, what gets you hot, what gets you aroused. You have to understand that. On a man's side, he needs to understand the arousal process of a woman. Men and women have the exact amount of erectile tissue, right? Same features and benefits, clitoris and penis, same features and benefits. How do you make that happen? How do you know about all of that clitoral stimulation going on in the body? So it's just about knowing the body, knowing the anatomy, and knowing what to do with it. Makes all the difference in the world. And mastering foreplay. Master some foreplay. If you can master foreplay, honey, the orgasm is going to be incredible.
So help with that. If you could share some things that help master foreplay, because especially when you're in long-term relationships, that foreplay probably gets less and less. Like you said, you move into the roommate phase and roommates aren't having foreplay. So what are some tips, tricks that you could offer for that?
Again, it works better when you're with someone who you really want to be with. But foreplay starts even outside of the bed, just how you make a person feel, right? If you're making me feel good and beautiful and on your guy, you're making him feel like, he is the king of your home, right? You're letting him lead this relationship, right? I'm a traditionalist, so I like roles in relationship. That's just me. Y'all can come down on me. I don't care. That's just who I am. I think a woman should be a woman. She should make the house a home. That's just who I am. But when you make each other bring their best to the table, right? They're feeling good about each other and themselves because you make me feel that way. All of this stuff starts early on, right? It starts when you get up in the morning and you say, hey, baby, you look good. You tap me on the ass as I'm going out the door. All of that. You send me, we have these cards. These called strike a pose cards, right? They have those sexual positions. Send a card, take a picture of the card and say, baby, this is what I got for you tonight, right? Start the process early, right? And then when you get home, here's the big thing. Whoever is the more tired, if you want the sex, make sure that you make the other person ready for it. Don't let that person come home to no dirty house. If you know that is something that bothers them, I think you better clean up.
Our super producer is over here saying amen.
Get it together. Because if I have to come in and still do this shit I'm tired. I keep telling y'all I'm tired, right? So
now I'm gonna mention something to you,
yes.
dear certified sexologist. We have a swear jar over here, and I'm not putting no money in here. So I got one S word. I got $1 coming out of you. Don't say another one, because I'm not gonna be putting no money in this jar over here. Somebody had to give $10 yesterday or Friday because of their guest.
I'll send my dollar. So my point is, make sure that the environment is conducive for it. Right? That's one. Now, you can always have awesome, incredible foreplay that does not have to lead to orgasm. Tantric sex, erotic massage, like all of that goes into just an incredible experience. It doesn't always have to lead to penetration or orgasm, but it can lead to something incredible and an incredible connection that you have with someone. So I'll be doing a class on tantric sex and a foreplay class coming up in May. Or erotic massage. I'm sorry. I love erotic massages. I think that you should never have sex without an erotic massage with each other.
So if they want more information on that, they can go to the blueprint, the bedroomblueprint.com. Okay, it's there for you guys to see. So anything we talk about or discuss today, all this information that Sean Wilson, the certified sexologist, will give, educator, trainer, will give, is going to be found on this website right here on the screen. And
just sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get newsletters with information, education, all the events that's coming up. You can also have private sessions. I do a lot of private coaching sessions as well.
And I'm also taking questions. So she's taking any questions because she's ready to. James, you were asking her name. I put it up there on the screen for you. If you want to know how to contact her, that website is How to Do It. That's her name there. And any questions you guys have, you can inbox me on Facebook. If you don't want to put them there in the comments, I'm okay with that. So if you do, though, put them in the comments, put them right there, and she'll answer them for you.
Yeah, I will. I'll even go back and answer them if we don't get them here.
And so, as Kimberly Davis said, and you mentioned this, intimacy goes beyond the
act, right? Intimacy. So here's the thing. When you ask people about intimacy, I remember asking someone, do you remember your first intimate experience? I had put that question up on my group, and they said, and people were coming back, yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, it's hurt. And I was like, intimacy has nothing to do with sex.
Explain that, because I don't think, like you say, we go straight into sex, not always with any kind of education. And we just keep going from the first time we have it, what age that person was, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22, 32, whatever. You go straight into sex, and no one, or it's rarely, you'd have to seek it out. Are you taught how to be intimate?
Right.
So
intimate is that connection. Intimacy is the connection that you have with someone. That connection that we have with our parents, right? We love our mothers. Why? Because you have that connection with them in the womb, right? That is the first person that touch you, hold you, rub your eyebrows, kiss you. You have this intimate connection where you trust them. You share your dreams and your hopes and your desires with, and you feel safe with them. That's intimacy. When I feel safe with you. The reason why men back off of women so much, because women will throw the most intimate things that they share with them back in their face when they're heated. Men don't feel safe with women.
Give an example of that, if you can think of a time, like an example of how that looks.
Right. So I'm a man, and I share with you some abuse that I have or had in the past. And now you mad at me for whatever reason, because men do sabotage a lot. I'll give them that part of it. But when you are mad and heated, we go for the jugular.
That's why your mama didn't hug you.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Okay, right.
Okay, I got it.
What happens. So now I don't feel safe with you. I can no longer be intimate with you because I don't trust that you have my best interest at heart.
And I think for some of the people who do have problems in their relationships with being intimate, that is that's so huge, is that they don't feel safe with each other anymore. And when you
Right.
don't feel safe, it's hard to relax and be your authentic self and let your hair down, let your guard down when this happens. So I totally understand that.
How can I possibly give you all of me when I don't trust that you're going to do right by it? All right.
I love it. And like you said, and so much goes into being intimate outside of just the act.
The act. Sex is just the act. Sex is we in the bed and we doing some stuff. That's sex. Everything else is on the intimate side of it. Even how you touch me. All right. Now, you can be that's right. Love language. Somebody, Kimberly Davis, said the love language is actually know your love languages. That is a big, big piece. Everyone does not. I am not a gifted. You don't have to give me no gifts, and you don't have to call me beautiful every day. Right? That's just not my thing. But I am a touch person. I love touch. And I love time. Give me your time.
Quality
and give
time.
Me right. You have to know what the other person likes. Right? And you can typically tell what they like because they treat you that way. If they're very touchy-feely with you, that means they want you to touch them, girl. I had to kiss myself.
You have to touch yourself.
Right? If I'm touching you, that means I want you to touch me. If I'm giving you compliments all the time, that means I want compliments. People typically treat you the way they want to be treated.
That's so true. And then sometimes I've noticed that they treat you the way they want to be treated. But when we're learning love languages, it also helps to learn that person's love language.
Exactly.
Because it is definitely my go-to habit is to treat you the way I want to be treated. I'm going to give all those words of affirmation because I like to receive them. And you think once you give, you'll receive, but that person still gives you their gifts because that's what they like. So learning.
Exactly.
So you're
right.
just
And it's hard, but
gifts.
also here's the thing. In having that conversation, I think we don't have enough conversations around what we want, don't want, our likes, and what we don't like, and what we need in our lives, right? We really don't have those type of conversations. So we have sex first, and then we try to learn the person. Isn't that backwards, right? Learn the person first so you can know what it is. Are you all truly compatible? Are you truly compatible on a sensual and sexual level, on an intimate level, right? If they're not a sharer and you are, how would you feel about that, right? And if I tell you what my love language is, and here's the thing, you have to be open to understanding why people don't treat you certain ways. If I'm a touchy-feely person, but I'm dealing with someone that went through sexual abuse and have distrust on touch, I can't expect them to be that affectionate. We have to understand the person and where they are.
I love that because it's almost unloving to have these expectations of someone without trying to find out what's going on with them. And
Absolutely.
we feel we're being this loving person by I'm telling you what I want and telling you what I want, but not asking the questions to how to get there. I love how you put that. That makes so much sense. I want to bring up a question that Marvin asked, and it was, how do you foster that trust when a person refuses to let their guard down?
Coaching. Go to therapy. I don't know why we are afraid of that. I have conversations with individuals. It's interesting how people can sit with me. I'm sitting at a restaurant. What do you do? I'm a sexologist. And within minutes, they're telling me their whole life story, right? But there's also another person's side to that, right? And so what you're seeing is not 100% reality. It's your reality, but it's not the reality of the situation. I think you need a mediator. You need someone in between to be able to hear their side, and help you all bridge that gap to understand why. Because here's the thing, when you've been with someone for so long and you're trying to get them to let down their guard, they are accustomed to you already. It's not going to happen with you. They need to tell someone else what the problem is. They're not going to tell you. You know,
it's so like
get some therapy.
I totally agree. And getting the outside help, and maybe them independently, it doesn't necessarily always mean that you need to go together, but getting that therapy helps. Because kind of when you've shown someone that if they've already built the distrust that I can't be open with you, just asking them to do it isn't going to make them comfortable. It just doesn't happen with the words. They would need to actually go get some help with that.
And it's also your actions, right? And so you said, how do you foster the trust, right? How do you foster the trust? What do you feel that they don't trust you with? Ask them. Have that conversation. Where is it that you would like to see this relationship go? Right? Ask the question. How do you view me in your life? How do you view me in your future? Do you see us? And be okay with whatever that answer is, right? But I think you should know how a person is feeling about you and how they view you, and be ready to hear what they're saying to you and why. And then if they say, I see you in my future, what does this relationship look like? What is it going to look like? What will be your ideal relationship with me? What would it look like? What will we be doing? Start to have these future talks of what are we doing? How are we living life? How are we experiencing each other? Let's talk about it to see if we're on the same page.
So his follow-up question is there, what if they don't think they need therapy?
Look, at the end of the day, now it's about you. You have to do what makes you happy, right? Do you want to just be equally unhappy, right, in a relationship, right? I love you so much. We just gonna make each other unhappy. Make the decision. Look, you have to have the conversation with that person and find out what is it that they want with you, and how is this going to look, and what are we going to do to make it happen? Because it's not just about what they want; it's about what you all want together. So, right, you can make someone else happy.
Totally agree. Kimberly Davis says, and don't be afraid to divest if it doesn't work for you.
That's right.
Because if they don't think they need help, what can you do? You can't change that person. The only person you can actually alter and make do anything is yourself. So it may take some hard truths for yourself. That is this
absolutely,
if this is the right thing for yourself. So I get that. But I also want to give a shout out to Kimberly Davis, because as our certified sexologist mentioned, she's not a therapist, but Kimberly Davis is actually somebody you could go to for this. Kimberly, I'm going to ask you on that half of it. We're going to cover both halves for you. Kimberly, I want you to put your information for journeytowholeness.org into the comment section for people, because maybe they need to come talk to you to get past that needing someone to talk to. If they know that they need help, I know we can't make them.
No, they can talk to me. That's what I do. I'm just saying you have to be, clear. I don't deal in the past. So Kimberly would be that person. I am where you would come to me if it's like, hey, we're trying to move forward in our relationship. I can get you moving forward. If you have some deep-seated issues that you're dealing with, that's when you will go with Kimberly.
Exactly. Then you go to journeytowholeness.org. You can check out her website, because she definitely helps you heal the past. So we got the present and moving forward and getting that love life revved up. And then if you need some emotional clearing and healing, definitely Kimberly is the one for that. So thank you. So you guys, as we end, I'm going to put up Kimberly's information to talk to her on that. So another question that came up, and I'm going to go to this one, isn't on the screen. This one was sent to me through my inbox. So the question was, and I'm getting more comfortable. I'm noticing it the more I talk about it, the more actually my little Catholic school
Right. Thank you.
just don't do it education is starting to go, okay, I'm feeling this.
You see? You're right. Just
So-
talk about it.
Just talk about it.
We have to not be afraid of this conversation, especially when everybody's doing it.
It's because they're actually having sex, whether they talking about it or not. They doing it, right? Single,
why not do it
married,
right?
they're
Why not
doing
do
it.
it right?
So one question that came up is, how do I keep the excitement in my marriage after we've been together for years?
Intimacy.
You did touch on some of that, so that's a good
Intimacy. It is not about, see here, it's not about sex, right? Sex is the last thing you need to be. It's about intimacy. How do I feel? Do I feel good with you? Do I want to try new things? Right? How do I explore something new sexually with you when, every day I'm tired and unhappy and we're arguing about the same crap every day? And then you want me to now have sex with you?
Feel intimate with you, want foreplay, none of that. None of that
right?
comes into play if your head isn't there. And
right.
so, like Kimberly says, she gives the holistic healing and wellness, and you heal your trauma and blocks. Then you can move forward, because sometimes that could be the very thing, like you mentioned, Sean, that why I may not like to be touched or not like touching you has something to do way deeper than what's happening now. It's not a personal thing. It's that I had some trauma that makes me not want to be hugged and not want to be touched and those kind of things. So healing that makes a big difference. And sometimes the people who don't feel they need the therapy really do. Maybe they haven't even touched on, maybe they don't even know why. And so I guess coming from a loving place with that as well. So like Kimberly is co-signing that is the intimacy. And she says, yes, she is on point, isn't she? See, I only bring y'all the best. I'm going to tell y'all. It's usually if Sean is commenting when she's watching the show, I'm like, yes, I got to have her on. Yes, I got to have her on. So I'm so glad that Sean, my snowbird. Are you in Chicago or in Florida right now?
I'm in Chicago for a few more days and then I'm back out. Yeah.
So I'm glad to catch the snowbird here in Chi-Town, so I could get a hold of her in Florida too. I mean, she's accessible, you guys, wherever she is. But glad to have her today and to answer some of these questions that came up. Go ahead.
The reason, when I think about all of these conversations, it's like we have these conversations all the time. We're in the groups where, it's the constant conversation on distrust and dishonesty and cheating. And there's like nothing positive. How are you going to have a positive relationship when your head is stuck in someone cheating? First of all, can't nobody cheat on you. I don't even know. Cheat, what does that mean? Look, sex is sex. We both having it together. That's a mutually agreed upon activity, right? But let me tell you where that stems from. We grew up, especially young girls, thinking sex was something would be taken from you, right? You're going to lose your virginity. They're going to take your innocence, right? Wow. It was something that was lost. And then, you like you said, you go to school and you're learning what not to do and don't do it because this can happen. Bad things can happen if you have this, right? But I'm watching you over here kissing up on someone, or you hear be a freak in the sheets and a lady in the streets. Okay, so where do I learn to be the darn freak? You told me I can't even touch myself. Right? I can't masturbate. Don't touch yourself because that's a sin, which is not everybody. But right, don't touch yourself. I can't touch myself, but I have to let somebody else touch me, but they shouldn't really touch me because if they do, it makes, where do we go in our heads with this? How do we process all of this confusion around something that's so beautiful and that's so needed in our lives? We are sexual beings. We were created that way.
I so appreciate that. Go ahead, say that.
If you decide you're going to have sex with somebody, you better have sex with them because you want to have a connection and an experience with that person. It has nothing to do with that person. They don't owe you anything. And I suggest maybe you should have conversations to get to know the people before you have sex with them. How about that?
Okay, I hear you. I love that. So you are listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We have with us Shawn Wilson. She is a certified sexologist. She's also an educator and trainer for Bedroom Candy. And we're discussing how comfortable are you discussing sex? And I really realized that as I talk even about clutching pearls, that it should be a conversation where you don't even feel you need to clutch your pearls. And that right there says, maybe I'm uncomfortable. So it's interesting, just the built-in. I liked how you use that the language we use builds uncomfortability. Because if I'm losing my virginity and taking sex and all these other terms that don't have anything positive wrapped around these experiences, then I can see where this uncomfortableness is built in. So I love that I'm learning so much, and I really appreciate you being here. So guys, if you have a question and you want to send it to the inbox, send it to the inbox. If you want to put it here, we'll have Shawn answer those questions. If you want to know more about or want to know how to contact Shawn Wilson, you can go to thebedroomblueprint.com and subscribe to her newsletter, and you'll get all the information that Shawn has regarding these topics, or if you want to make special appointments or anything, that's how you contact
host a party, right? You can host your own party. Because one of the things that we do, what I think is really interesting, when we do our parties, right? We go out, we bring all of these things for you to touch, taste, feel, play with. But we also have this discussion around, how do you do this? What is it for? Why would you use it? When will you use it? Right? All of these things. So we have these conversations. So it's funny because when you start off a party, people that don't really want to be there sitting like this.
You see their facial expressions.
That's how they look. I'll be like, oh, look, this is going to be a rough crowd. Right? But by the end of the party, it's like, then they're asking questions because it's not, we're not really in there to turn you into something you don't want to be. We just want you to embrace who you are as men and women. I do a lot of couples events and couples parties. Everybody is at war, right? We have become enemies to each other, right, in relationships. And so we want to not be enemies to each other. Right. And we just want to have these connections that we want ownership instead of relationship. Okay.
When you were talking about the groups, I'm sure when we talk about the fighting over cheating and who's doing this and who's doing that, and us wanting ownership instead of the ownership instead of. I don't know if
they want ownership. I just think they want commitment. And so we have to stop using these very what's the word I'm looking for? Divisive terms with each other too. You listen how we even respond to each other. You put up a comment and somebody comes at you. So, and like, where did that come from? That is what you needed to say, and then you wonder why. Listen, everyone, more people are hurt than not. Everyone have experienced some hurt. If you look at relationships for what they are, and they're just experiences in our lives, right? And just being honest about what you want and going into it with open eyes, right? And an open heart, and know who you are. You have to embrace who you are sensually before you jump out there sexually.
Like you mentioned, knowing who you are. And I guess one step is going to one of your parties, because I'm sure that may not even be comfortable for some people when we talk about being comfortable with sex. So I guess that's an initial move. But
Yeah.
what have you found as you're easing them in the midst of a party, and you have those faces like, I don't even want to be here, and I'm not, what
That's only the first 5 minutes. Once they realize that they're in a safe space, right? I'm not here. I don't ask you anything personally, so you don't have to share anything personal about yourself. It's really just an exploration for you to hear some ideas, information, education, some suggestions on things that you can use and do and try for yourself. And if you're with someone else, right? So again, it's not just about, I tell people we have over 600 products, only 30 are toys, right? Everything else is really around sensuality, around you taking care of yourself, right? And so you have to really know who you are sensually and be all in tuned with your own senses for yourself. Because when you show up like that, that's what makes you, oh, I can't say that. Okay, I can't say those words. That's what makes you attractive to other people.
Thank you, saving me from the tip jar, the swear jar. That was a swear word, I'm assuming. No, it wasn't.
You have to tell us this before the show.
You know what? I rarely have this on my rarely have, but I wasn't prepared. I usually, I've never, and the swear jar is kind of new here. This is my first show since he added the jar here. So, but now I will add that to my
Yes.
prepare for the show. And also you cannot swear because he just added this jar and it's halfway full. So, but I don't think, were you going to say a swear word? It didn't feel like that was coming.
It was coming.
Okay. So Marvin says, is it healthy to have relationships that are purely sexual in nature by consenting adults?
Absolutely.
Like friends with benefits?
Absolutely. Here's the thing about that, though. It's healthy. You can do it by two consenting adults, but someone always gets their feelings hurt in the end of that.
One issue sometimes is that
because one person's going to start feeling something. Nothing can stay like this all the time. Life doesn't work like that. Life does not. No, it's not. It can be healthy for you right now, Toussaint. I think that's how I pronounce his name. But nothing can stay even all the time. At some point, someone's going to feel something a little bit more or want something more. If it's a friendship, I think you need to keep that friends. If not, go pay at the pump.
Pay at the pump. I like that term. We recently were talking about that here in the station, that someone said it's easier to pay because then they don't have to deal with the feelings and the extra talking and the extra that you pay at the pump and they go and that's it. So I like that term. I think what's hard is that, yes, it's healthy to everybody who's healthy in their life already. I mean, you can't have someone, like someone said, someone needs therapy. Well, someone who needs therapy to deal with this, and you put them in a situation and try to think that they're going to have this healthy outcome with something that they're not prepared for, isn't probably going to work out. And I think sometimes we're not dealing with two healthy people in the first place and expecting a healthy outcome. And that's one of the reasons why it doesn't work. Someone has something.
Well, here's the thing. I want you to think about it like this. The fact that you are sexually attracted to your friend means there's something there. So it's unfair to now have this friends with benefits. If they're a friend to me, why would I just want to use them like that?
For the sexual pleasure?
Yeah, but they're my friend. They're my friend, right? So obviously, if both of us have decided that, yeah, you know what, let's do this, someone has feelings.
Someone has feelings already.
Right. And it may be okay for a minute where it's truly cool. But at some point, somebody's going to want more from it. And then the friendship is over.
So, two says, if you attract unhealthy people, I think that's the energy and experience you're supposed to have.
True. So embrace it.
Embrace it, right? And
embrace the experience. Absolutely. But then you have to look at yourself. Why you keep attracting unhealthy people? And what is that doing for your life? What is that doing? Look, I say that, especially for people over 40. It's time to grow up, y'all. We have to stop. We have to stop acting like we dating like we in our 20s. Be intentional. Be on purpose. What do you really want for your life? What do you want your non-working years to look like? Right now, I'm taking care of a 95-year-old father with Alzheimer's, and I'm sitting there thinking, damn, shoot. Right? Oh my goodness. Right? Thank goodness he have children and a wife that's still at home with him. That is a horrible place to be. Stop playing this game like you haven't. Look, we have lived more years than we are probably going to live. So let's stop playing this game with each other. We make decisions around everything else in our lives, but when it comes to intimate relationships, you want to see what happens. So let's stop seeing what happens. Make it happen. Let's just make it happen. Be honest. Be honest. And if you don't want to be in it, get out. I didn't say anything about using anyone. I never said anything was using anyone. I just said it's unfair. It's unfair to the other person that has feelings for you and you know that they have feelings for you. Why would you do that to someone that you say you care for and that they're a friend of yours, right? Don't do it. Don't do it. Is sex that important? You can go and have sex with anyone. Since y'all got it like that, go get it somewhere else. But don't mess up relationships that you have established with people. That's all that I'm saying.
It's so true. I like what you're saying. Kimberly says, be conscious and intentional. And intentional for yourself. You can't control the other person's intention. So you know what you want. You know be conscious and aware of what you want for yourself, because unfortunately, many people are looking at it, what's best for them, what they're getting out of the situation. Unfortunately, even as friends, they're not necessarily, if I'm talking friends with benefits, caring about how you feel in the end, because they're going after the sex. So you're kind of in charge of being conscious and intentional with yourself, what you desire, and making the decisions for your own self, and not allowing that person or not blaming them. I mean, I guess you can blame them, but in the end, you were the only person you could control.
But you also have to be intentional on the other person. Because if I get into a relationship with you, or I meet you and I know that this is what you're looking to do with your life and I'm not there, I'm not being intentional because I like you and I think, let me just see what happens. I'm playing that silly head thing in my head. Let's just see what happens. No, because now I'm messing up their plan. This is not the plan for their life, to be in a casual relationship. They just told me this. And if you're on that casual tip, hey, leave them alone. Let them find a person that they can be intentional with, and the person that's intentional with them. You have to know what your deal breakers are in every situation, even in sex. What are your deal breakers? What are you willing to do and not do? Right? Have these conversations up front. What are your deal breakers, right? In my business, what people want to come to me and, people want the threesomes and people want to do this type of thing. I'd be like, yeah, okay. But if it's a deal breaker for them, you should have had that conversation on the front end, right? If that was your fantasy, you should have been involved with somebody that wants to do that. Don't try to turn someone that does not into something that they don't want to be.
Is it unfair, or is it an experience y'all both supposed to have, even if you're friends?
Stop it. This is a third comment that he's trying to convince himself that his behavior is okay. It's not okay. It's just not okay.
Maybe your subconscious is intentionally pushing you toward that specific experience, he said.
And maybe it's pushing you towards an experience so you can do better and be better. Not to just keep look, I tell people this. When you are always looking for the greener grass, understand that that grass is green because it's been nurtured. Don't come over here killing my grass. It's alive. It's green. It's flourishing. It's healthy. Don't come kill my grass.
Unfortunately, you know these people not gonna go watering your grass for your neighbors. Now don't go over and shovel somebody's snow, or they ain't watering your grass for you. They're not gonna do it. So you better take care of your grass.
Right.
But
don't
that's
let
funny.
People kill your grass, men or women. Don't let you have these great guys out here, right? Don't let some woman come kill your grass.
We have my two things I'm taking away from my time with Sean Wilson, certified sexologist and also educator and trainer of Bedroom Candy, is pay at the pump and don't come kill my grass. I have two things I will be repeating from now on. I'm writing these down. Don't come over here and kill my grass because your grass ain't green over there and you don't water your own grass. And you don't add any fertilizer, and you ain't being intimate with your grass. Now you want to come over here and burn my grass up.
And kill my grass.
You
girl.
better go get you a water hose somewhere and some seed. I ain't got time for this. Okay, so James says, you a whole hot mess. So water and trim the grass. And yes, plant flowers.
Yes,
flowers. Bedroom Candy got flowers, don't they? Like you said, only so many are toys. The rest are just flowers and plants.
Flowers. Right. Make it happen. Make it beautiful. Right. Continue to nurture the grass. If you spend that much time doing that, you'll have great relationships. You know, you won't be jumping around. Make grass seeds. Stop buying grass. Make grass. Okay. Oh, you're gonna have me crying in here. Okay. Yeah.
Y'all funny. So two says, I agree. It's pushing you to do better and be better. And if you let me in your grass and my intent isn't pure, then that must be an experience you also need. He ain't leaving that one alone. He said, you supposed to have the experience with me. Me and your grass supposed to be together. I'm supposed to be watering your grass. I don't care if it dies. I ain't got time for that. We're going to have the experience of this grass making.
I love it.
So he's like, I like to fertilize, and that we're going to have the fertilization experience together. We will be fertilizing. We friends and we fertilizing. Just fertilize the grass or go pay at the pump. So you guys, again, we're talking with Sean Wilson. And if you would like to learn more about what Sean does, you can do that. Please go to her website and get the newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll find out all about the fun things that Sean does. She has a virtual adult game night coming up.
A lot of fun.
I've been to a couple.
You're going to learn a lot. You get to learn a lot about yourself. You get to learn a lot about your partners. It's just a lot of fun. So, you know, you walk away saying, I didn't know that, but you have fun doing it. We have a fun auction at the end of it. You get to play for some bedroom bucks where you get to spend at the auction. It's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. 2 hours of your time.
And I've experienced them, a lot of fun, educational, and especially when we really need to learn again how to be intimate, because that really is something that we're not taught in the realm of somebody giving you the sex talk when you're at a young age. They're not telling you what intimacy looks and feels like, and being intimate with the person is so important to having a comfortable time having sex, a fun time having sex. Making it enjoyable is so important, and so we're trying to get to that point. So I'm going to get to some of the questions. Let me go back to comments really quickly and see where I got one. Are you auctioning off seeds?
Yes.
Get the newsletter, James. You're going to find out about her auction, her seed. No. Well, yeah, Bedroom Candy. She has some things we're going to be going into some of the things Bedroom Candy has for
Absolutely.
you guys, because we're going to help you get to these things we're talking about, get to a place of being comfortable with yourself, comfortable in your
You have to.
relationships and intimate in your relationships, because that's what the certified sexologist does. So another question that was brought and sent to my inbox
Okay.
was, I'm older. I'm an older man, and I'm no. Can you still enjoy sex at any age?
Yes. You will always have the desire until you die. And for men, understanding that you can have an orgasm without an erection.
You can
You don't
have
need
an orgasm without an
without an
erection.
erection. Yeah, you don't need to have an erection to have an orgasm. Right? And so people, what happens with men is men equate their erections to their manhood. So they can't get it up anymore. Well, if you can get it up but can't keep it up, I got something that can make you keep it up. But if you can't get it up, period, because of some illness, and usually it's because of some medications that you're on, high blood pressure, diabetes, things like that, that stops you and prevents you from actually getting an erection, you can still have an incredible orgasm without having an erection. So yes, absolutely you can.
Two says, wait, hold up. What you say? What?
You can have an orgasm without an erection. Yes, absolutely.
You can have.
See, this is about knowing your body. This goes back to knowing your body, right?
Okay.
These are the things that we talk about at parties. I don't know what people be thinking, girl, they be scared. When I say, why don't you have a party? You know, grab about 15 of your friends. Let me get, no, we don't do that. I'm like, do what? What don't you do? Right? You got all these kids. I know you're doing something, but
but we're doing something. You just bring up a great point. We have been practicing all the wrong ways, babies to show for it all the and not really being intimate and having these connections. Can be even married and don't have these connections and not knowing how to connect, and we're doing these actions, we're producing children, all of it is happening, and not without this love and connection. So that's what is so important, and what I'd like to get us to the point. He said, she said was kind of founded on having men and women learn to communicate better in healthy and in a healthy way, and part of that is sex. We're doing the action. I mean, doing the action with people they barely know, but really having these intimate feelings is so important. So I'm just so glad that you're taking the time with us today, Sean, to discuss this.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So I'm going to ask Sean, the certified sexologist. I think we're going to have a virtual game night within, he said, she said, the group. Join the group and we'll set up a game night if it's okay with her and Bedroom Candy, that we have this one that's solely for the people who are part of the group.
Well, you can do that.
So I think we're going to plan that.
Say something.
We're going to have that come up.
Yeah.
So James said she's teaching what God intended for this thing we call sex. Keeping it holy.
Yes, James. But here's the thing. It's more, and again, it goes to, I remember when I first got started in the business, my parents had one of my first parties. Now, remember, my mother's 85, my dad's 95, and this was about 8 years ago. And they had a first party, and we called it Sex Over 70s, and it was like 9 couples all over 70s. They were in their
Sex
70s.
Over 70, you had a party, and people that age actually came?
It was one of my highest selling parties ever. Yes, because it was all about sex without penetration, right? Because at that time, you know, older men are not really getting getting erections like that. But there are a lot of things that you can do. And that's why I talked a lot about like an introduction to tantric sex. I did the erotic massaging. Of course, you got your mouth, right? Oral is always an incredible way to give someone. And then you have toys that you can use to help with that. So toys are not just for the woman to give herself a an orgasm, men can use toys on themselves, like from cock rings to prostate massagers and things like that. And then you have your toys for women, clitoral stimulators and G-spot simulators and all of that. So, how do you use these things to make sure and ensure that you have an incredible experience that's pleasurable for both of you, not just from one person to the other?
I always recognize when I hear cock ring and I go, oh. I don't hear that on a normal conversation I have in a day. I love that. It just shows how comfortable you are with this conversation, our dear certified sexologist. So James asked, who is Candy? This is a good time to bring in, explain when we say bedroom Candy, he wants to know who Candy is.
Okay. So my company is the Bedroom Blueprint. But I have been with, a company called Bedroom Candy. Candy Burris from the Housewives of Atlanta, the girl group Escape. She created an adult accessory line or a sexual health and wellness line 9 years ago. And I was one of the first grouping of consultants that joined on to that business. I have trained, thousands of consultants under me to help them become educators for the company. Make some money, have some fun, but mainly to educate men and women and couples on how to have healthy, safe, and pleasurable and exciting sexual experiences with themselves and with each other. So it's a direct sales company that has a product line, and all the products are on my website as well. Yeah.
So Tu says those proves at those parties, are they mostly male or female?
So here's the thing. This is that's a great question. I like that. Mainly women. So I do women, all women, and I do couples. I don't do co-ed. Single men they make a mockery of it. It's so sad to see. Married couples, men be like, shh, she's talking. Because let me tell you something, ladies, men really want to please you. They really want to please you. We don't tell them how. We don't tell them how. So anytime I hear a woman say, yeah, girl, he wasn't good. He wasn't good. Why wasn't he good? Right? Don't you know what you need? You could not have told them, right, what you needed for them to do. Now, the only time they're not good is if they said, I'm not going to do it. Right? But look, if you can just lay there, like I said, we have a word called lesbian. Obviously, we don't need a penetrative penis, right, to have pleasure. So enjoy the experience with the person that you're with and have your orgasm. If you can grind them, remember outer courses? Let's talk outer courses, right? Instead of intercourse, outer course. When we were younger, what did we do? We used to grind on each other. That sensation that we felt, right? Practice some outer courses.
Practice outer course, because then you'll get into the intercourse.
Yes!
Okay. I can do that, I guess. So James says, I've found people need to learn anatomy. And you were saying that at the top of the show, is that is one thing about being comfortable with sex, comfortable within yourself, so you can have the intimacy and have better orgasms, is actually learning your body. So just mention that briefly again. We have different people in the room now that you said at the top.
I do a call, and I did one about 3 weeks ago about your relationship with your vagina, and how, people don't even look down there. They don't know what it looks like. I've talked to people where men didn't know what a scrotum was. I've talked to women that didn't know that you didn't urinate from your vagina. People really don't know their anatomy down there. And so it's important that you understand that when we say your vagina is not your lips, your vagina is just a tube, right? All that other stuff there makes up your vulva, not the vagina. That is not your vagina. That is your vulva. The vagina is a part of the vulva, right? So just knowing, all of these things, understanding that men and women have the exact features and benefits, right? Knowing that your clitoris is not just that little ball at the top, right? Understanding when men don't know when a woman is aroused, right? How do we know when a man is aroused? Because his penis gets hard. How do we know when a woman is aroused? Because her clitoris gets hard. If her clitoris isn't hard, she's not aroused enough to receive you with comfortability. We have to know these things about our bodies if we want it to be pleasurable and we want it to be fun and exciting. I don't want to be pain, have pain and discomfort. It is what it is.
Two says, if you're a dead fish, you're a dead fish. We get disappointed too.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'm not disappointed. Look, sir, I'm not your enemy. I got you. I'm on your side.
You waking up those dead fishes. You trying to get the fish swimming in the water.
I'm on your side. I absolutely agree with that. I didn't say anything about you just laying there. I'm just saying you do not have to, it is more on both sides. I don't have to be a gymnast to please you. And I don't have to be a porn star to please you. And so we have to get that myth out of our minds where we're trying to do all of this extra stuff. If you had true connection with someone, you're going to have a pleasurable experience with them.
So,
especially if you're open and
a safe place. You created that safe place. People are more likely to be very open in all things sexual when that you've created a place of safe for them. So is this just for women?
No.
Everything we're talking about, is this is not for men. This is all for women.
We just finished talking about men having orgasms without erections. No, absolutely not. Everything is the same. We want the same things that you want. Right? We just go about it a little differently. So, absolutely not.
Two is agreeing with you. No debate. He totally agrees. And so another question that came up, we talked about the seniors and that the seniors, I'm still a little shocked that you had your highest party was 70-year-olds. Okay, I like that. Where's the G-spot? Someone asked.
So the G-spot is 2 to 3 inches inside the vagina towards the front wall. So if you put up your fingers like this and turn them towards you, 2 fingers, and say, come here, it's 2 to 3 inches inside the vagina. It feels like the roof of your mouth, right? It's just a little spongy area. When you press on it, it may feel like you have to urinate. I always tell people, if you've ever cried after an orgasm, they've probably hit your G-spot because it's a very emotional experience that you have with it, and it's very intense that you have that. So, you can put your fingers inside of yourself and feel for it. Also, you can press, if your partner is inside of you and you press down, right, we call it the mons pubis, is that hairy part right above the clitoris. Press down on that area. You can press the G-spot into the penis. So, that's where it would be. And it's often, and it's not in the same spot on every woman. That's what I'm saying. You got to know where your spot is. You got to feel for it.
So the 2 fingers and
2 to 3 inches inside the vagina, towards the front wall.
Towards the front wall, 2 fingers in. And that, ladies, you may want to know if you're not in a relationship or not, that may be something to go practice right now. If you don't know where it is, go take a moment and find that out for yourself. So another question, well, before that, let's get to what 2 says, is that sex is spiritual, but very few of us are in tune with our own spirits, let alone our partners.
That's where intimacy comes in, though. This is always going to go back to intimacy. If people stop confusing lust for love, right? Anything that's making you feel like you just want to screw the person is not intimacy. All right. It's really about how they make you feel. Do they make you want to be a better person?
Aww.
Do they make you want to show up for yourself in life and for them and for the relationship in life? That is what you're trying to get to. where you can talk about your dreams and your goals, and you can have these conversations, and you all are on the same page, and you're having ideas for each other, you're helping each other out, that is what you're trying to get to in a relationship. Because sex is going to fade at some point. Right?
It is.
I mean, because people are older. Look, like for instance, my dad has Alzheimer's. He's not thinking about that. Right?
Right.
So at some point, that part of you is going to start to decline. You're not going to have it as often as you used to have it. Right? What can we at least talk to each other? Are we still moving in the same direction?
So there, like you said, there's ways to be intimate without actually touching each other.
Absolutely.
And so that then becomes even more important, knowing the ways. Right. And as always, we're going to say that you can contact Sean and go to the website, get the newsletter if you want more information on this. So a woman asked that she's never had an orgasm from penetration.
Okay.
Is that a problem, or what should she do?
It could be a problem. It could be a problem. It would be interesting. So here's the thing. There's no quick fix answers on any of these things, because first you have to know why that is, right? That could be a past experience where she doesn't like penetration because she's had some encounter that was not pleasurable for her, right? I don't know what that is. So I can't really answer that question. But yeah, of course, there's, things that you can do. Does she have an orgasm if she masturbates, right? Does she masturbate with a penetrative toy or just a clitoral stimulator, right? There's things that she can try, on her own first to see if that. I always tell people, look, try a toy, spend, a few dollars before you start spending, a lot of money at a doctor's office, right? You can give me my hourly if you want to for 3 to 5 sessions, but let's try this first and see if it works for you. So it really just depends on what's behind her not having the orgasm penetratively.
Because it could be mental besides physical. You can help with the physicality, but the mental may take somebody, they need to do something else. 2 says, do you think social norms confuse how we leverage intimacy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have become, people are doing things they wouldn't normally do. It's interesting. I remember probably, maybe, 6, 7 years ago, remember when all the reality TV shows started coming out, the hip hop, whatever. And that's when, the threesomes came out real heavy. And I was like, but when I talk to women, that's not something that they really want to do. And so when I have clients that bring that particular topic to me, my first question is always, so is it going to be 2 men and your woman, or 2 women and your man? And the men are like outraged. No, never, ever, never.
There will not be 2 men.
But if you're that emphatic about it, why would you want someone that says, I'm not really interested, to do that for you? And honestly, I have never, ever seen those type of relationships work out.
The threesome relationships don't work out?
Never work out.
Why? Or do you know why? You can't say.
Well, here's the thing. If they're not married, they never work out. If they are married, people stay only because they've been in a relationship too long to get out. But there's a distrust now that comes along with that. It just never works, people. We know that. And here's the sad truth about it. We already know that to be the case. We really know that all of this external stimuli is not working for us. And so, take it for what it is, but absolutely the social norms, they're not normal. And it only looks like it's social norms because it's out there, but not many people are doing the things that's out there in the ether.
So a question that was asked is, which demographic is having the most, what age group actually is having the most sex?
40 to 50s. 40 to 50s. They're happy. They're good. They are at a place, where they're freer. They have experienced some things in life. Well, let me say this. They're having better sex. Young people are having sex, so they're just reckless, right? So they're just out there and they're just doing their things. However, now the millennials are having less sex than anyone. Isn't that interesting?
Why is that, do you think?
Because they don't get together with each other. They're social. They're on this all day. This is how they have relationships with people. They never get together. Teen pregnancy is down. Pregnancy in young people is down. They're not seeing each other. They communicate through Facebook and Instagram and inboxing and text messaging.
This is true. So Marvin says it's because it's not meant to work out. I guess talking about the threesomes. It's purely for sexual purposes only, not meant to be taken for a serious relationship.
But you ask someone that you're in a serious relationship with to do that. Why would you do that? Right? And these are the things that we don't think about. Those consequences. This is someone that I say that I love. We're living together. We're doing all this stuff. And then I'm going to say, you know what? I have a fantasy that, I want to do a threesome with someone that you love. Really? What? It doesn't even make any sense. If it's just for sex, why would you put your partner that you love so much in that situation? We don't think it through. We just don't think it through. So we have to start thinking through things and think of the end game of what that's going to look like. But you also have to respect your partner's wishes. Right? If they say, yeah, I'm not into that, be okay with that. Is that really a deal breaker in a healthy, happy relationship? Right? That makes no sense to me. So we have to be very honest about, what we're doing and stop treating serious relationships like they're throwaways.
Well, I love that. Love everything that you're sharing with us. You're tuned in to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. And we're here Sundays at 2 p.m. And today, on this fun day, we're here with Shawn Wilson. She is a certified sexologist as well as an educator and trainer for Bedroom Candy. And she is just really sharing with us, what do they call it? Dropping gems in the clubhouse world, the dropping gems here with us and sharing some sex knowledge. And so we're so excited to have you. I'm learning a lot. I'm still dumbfounded on a man can have an orgasm without an erection. I just feel like I need to know more about that question, but we're gonna sideline that. We may share that in our virtual sex party we're going to have.
Because we do have a talk at the end, after we do the games and stuff, we do have a talk at the end. So those things can come up. But absolutely.
So that's going to happen in our party. But you already have a party scheduled with yourself. So you guys, you are so more than welcome to go to thebedroomblueprint.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get all the information about what the Bedroom Blueprint is doing and everything that Shawn has coming up. So I really want you to go to the website and get connected. It's a love style to live by. We're talking about living by a new style of loving, so you can add this to your healthy relationship, create healthy relationships, be intentional in your relationships, bring fun, sex, and love, intimacy back into your relationship. Stop living like roommates and bring the relationship back to life. Water your grass so you don't go in other people's yards, killing their grass and keeping your grass, or thinking that grass is greener on some other side when all you had to do was go to the Bedroom Blueprint and find everything you needed to get your grass green again. So we gonna keep that grass green.
That's right, Wanda.
So let's go into that. Tell us some of the things that you do to keep people's grass green with the bedroom blueprint?
So, bedroom blueprint part of it is more on the coaching side, right? Where we really get you first honed in on a clear path for what it is that you want, and desire, and what you're willing to do to make that happen, right? Even in your environment, right? I tell people, you cannot say that you want an intimate relationship with someone and you're sleeping on half of your bed because the other half have books and papers on it. Your environment isn't even conducive, right? Like,
Move the clothes.
Move the clothes, right? Clean up, right? And so you have to set yourself up for success before you start. And being effable, you have to also
I love how you cleaned that up.
right.
We're talking about how to get you effable.
You have to be effable all the time. When you leave out of the door, men and women need to be effable, period. Right? And you have to be able to bring the sexual energy to you, but you also have to be open to the sexual energy. For women, the longer you don't have sex, the less you want to have sex.
My doctor told me that after the birth of one of my children, I lost desire. And he told me, I'm going the things to bring it back, and how I knew I wasn't the same person, as I was someone who desired it a lot more until this happened. And I just had no desire, and he made me schedule it to get it. And he said, I know that's not, but I want you to schedule it. So we were working, because he said the more you don't have sex, women will lose the less you have it, it will go away. And so he told me, I was told that actually by my gynecologist. So I know that is a fact. So
absolutely,
I agree.
I know what I'm talking about. Right? And not only that, and so when you don't have it, right, you start to dry up down there, right? So now you're not creating any type of lubrication and juices that's flowing down in that area. You're not getting blood flow to that area like you need to. So you just kind of tap out. You just tap out, right? And then you out, and so no one is approaching you. You're not talking to anyone. It's just not a good place to be. So, you want to always keep yourself in that attraction mode, that sensual mode of yourself. And that's a part of enjoying who you are and enjoying your surroundings and enjoying all the senses of life to get you feeling really good about yourself. And then other people will see that. Right, and become more attracted to you, but you have to be open to the attraction.
I so agree, because I like I said, times in my life, my one child I had at 39 years old, and that was the one where I just lost that desire. And also weight gain. I gained a lot of weight, and it didn't make me feel affable. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't feel good within myself. And when I didn't feel good within myself, everything was going with that. And so realizing that, and not blaming it on your partner, to really self-analyze, what's going on with me? And taking care of that is so important. So bedroom candy, do you all have something for that?
We do.
Uh-oh. Okay. What do you all have that can help somebody feel more affable again?
So here's the thing. We have everything from a whole seduction line of products that make you feel good about yourself. We have, Bath and Body. We have Eros products for men. From the arousal part, we have this incredible CBD arousal cream or oil that if you keep that down, it kind of gets you feeling in that way of sensuality a little bit. So it's everything from how do you just take care of your personal needs, right? How do you spend time with yourself? How do you groom yourself, right? We only shave down there when we getting ready to have sex, but if you ain't having sex for 5 years, you got a whole forest down there by now,
Your grass is well overgrown.
Right.
You got bushes. You need to go trim your hedges. Your hedges have grown over. We need
Sure, right? Same with men. It's like groom that area. We always say, look, if you trim back the bushes, the trees look bigger. So, take all that stuff away. Take it away.
bring back the big trees. We want you to trim your bushes.
Trim your bushes, right?
So trim your weeds.
So really it's just about yourself. What is he saying?
I want the ladies to know when a man desires you, that weight gain don't bother us at all.
Don't bother them. But it bothers.
It wasn't about him. Yeah.
Right. And that's another thing that I talk about, right? You have to understand that I just did a blog post about this, actually. That's really interesting. That was one of the blog posts that I just did that talked about that. If you are in the bed with somebody, obviously they are okay with how you look, right? So that is all up in your head about how you view yourself. My job is to get you to view yourself as the beautiful person that you are, men or women. When I say this stuff, I'm not just talking to women, because we have a lot of insecure men out here too. They just show up a little differently. Women kind of retreat to themselves. Men, honey, I love men. I wish women were more like men.
You wish women were more like men? Why? What does a man do with that?
Men have the best way of protecting their ego than a woman, right? If you are walking down the street and you say, try to flirt with some guy that you really like and he blows you off, women would internalize that as something is wrong with them, right? Oh my God. I mean, I know I'm not looking my best and I know I'm kind of overweight. If a man says something to you and you blow him off, what does he do? He turn it back on you. That's okay. You probably don't like men anyway. You don't even look that good anyway, right? They have a way of making themselves feel okay about the situation because you're the crazy one for blowing them off, right? I love it. I love it. I say, I wish women could be more like that, to be like, hey, okay, well, fine, that's on you. Because I'm all of that.
You ain't want all of this. Look, all of this.
All of this, right? But we do have men out there too. Men talk to me more privately than women. Women will have an open conversation with me. Men actually do a lot of coaching sessions with me. I have a larger male clientele than I do female. Believe it or not.
I do believe that. I do. Yeah. But that's good to know, because I think women would believe that men aren't going to get help with this.
They do.
And they are actually doing this. They are taking care of themselves too, because I do know that that's a common thing women believe, is that women are the only ones who get help. So I agree with that. And two says, when it bothers y'all, it disrupts everybody's energy. And that's why it's so important that Bedroom Candy is here, because I know for myself, I knew I had a problem. I went to the gynecologist. I had everything checked, do the whole scan, because I knew I didn't feel my energy, my everything was off. I wasn't the same person I was. So definitely getting myself back, and me feeling overweight. Yes. I was married. So yes, he was going to still be there, but I didn't feel good. I didn't feel sexy. And when I didn't feel sexy, I didn't want to have sex. So it really was for me to do these things. And it disrupts the energy of everybody. So I do agree that getting help is important for any relationship. We are conditional.
Yeah, and we are conditioned to fix things. Yeah, don't look at it as help, right? I just think, and that's why I say I'm a coach. I'm more on the coaching side of it. I'm here to rah-rah you through it. I want you to have a great experience. I want you to enjoy everything there is to enjoy around intimacy. Look, we need it. We need to have intimacy in our lives. We just do. And we need to have sex on a regular basis. We just do. But wouldn't it be great to have sex with someone that you're truly connected and committed to? I think everyone is lying when they say no.
You think everyone is lying if they say they don't want to have sex? They could just have sex. They don't need the
They're
commitment.
lying. They don't want. Yeah, you can do it, but what would you prefer? Right? That's the bigger question. What would you prefer? Like, here's one of the things that's interesting. If I ask women or men right now questions like this, if you notice, we can never give yes or no questions when it comes to relationships. Now, you can put up, would you rather go to Aruba or would you rather go to Jamaica? Aruba, Jamaica, Aruba, Jamaica. They'll do the answer, right? Would you rather have a Benz? Would you rather have a jet? Oh, I'll take the Benz. But if you say, would you want to be married? Well, it depends on if this is, and if this, well, of course. That's just a simple yes or no. Do you want to be married or don't you want to be married? That's a simple yes or no. I didn't say to who. I didn't say when. I just said, would you like to be married? That's a yes or no question. Of course, it's if all the right things are in place. Well, that's only smart, right? But that's not something that we just want to answer. So we make relationships way more complicated than it needs to be. It is unnecessarily difficult. I don't know why that is. Make a decision. Make a decision. Right? We've given choices. All you got to do, choose the partner that you want to be with. Make the decision that you're going to be all in.
I think people don't want to choose wrong. They're so fear of making the wrong decision that they'd rather not make a decision because.
But you first have to know what you want. First, you have to know what you want. And then when you are talking to people, you're sharing, they're sharing, and you get to see if you're compatible. Right?
So what's a man's recourse when that woman deals with insecurities beyond going to get outside box?
What? So what?
I think maybe he's referring to when I talked about women not wanting to have sex.
So your thing, if you're dealing with a woman with insecurities, you just have to be patient with her, right? What are those insecurities about? Because that is on her. It has nothing to do with you. That's on her to try to deal with that, right? All you can do is make it. And then it's not until she talks to someone else where, well, I may ask, so what does he say about your weight? Or what does he say about the skin condition you have? Well, no, he's very loving to me, right? I have to make her think that through. You can't make her think that through.
And if you can't wait that out, I mean, do you love that person? If the answer is going to get outside box, especially if she's going to the doctor to get help, going to a coach to get help, working on herself, I think it should
be patient.
Be patient. Be patient. Be patient. I think love should be okay. If you love that person, you can be patient, because I do think some realize, I know I realized it for myself and was absolutely getting help, going to the gym, doing everything it took, making, like the gynecologist said, making appointments. He's like, making appointments to do it, to bring that desire back. Doing everything that every coach told me to do. So I think some people know when there's an issue and they're getting help. And as Kimberly says, that yes, you must love and date self first.
But let me just say this: men want sex, women want intimacy. You have to give women intimacy. That is part of the no sex without penetration. Don't make it about the sex. Make it truly about the connection. Do you just lay in bed with them and hold and cuddle and touch and talk, right? Make me feel comfortable just in that space with you. That is not always, well, no, I gotta, do this. Give them some intimacy first. Trust me, that will turn around.
Give them the intimacy and you'll get to the box. You don't have to go outside the box or go water other grass and go damage other grass if you
That's
water your own grass with some
Water your
intimacy,
grass.
that probably actually would have helped. I must say, if I think back on that,
Yeah,
because it would have awakened some closed.
exactly.
I it would have awakened things for me. It was that I was constantly trying to fix it alone. I mean, I
Hmm.
never thought of it that way, but it was a time where the problem was me, and the problem wasn't a us. Let's work on it together. It was you go. It was for me to fix alone, and so I absolutely feel that if I if I was receiving that intimacy at that time, or anyone who's not in that mood, that gets a woman in the
But
mood.
get you in
That's
the
for
mood.
sure. So
Exactly.
I would love to learn, and I guess that's what the bedroom blueprint is about. That's what bedroom candy is about: is learning the tools that you have. Tons of tools to get intimate with. You teach this, you
Right.
coach this on how to get back to intimacy, so you can get back to having sex, because that's what we're talking about today, and we're being very comfortable with it. I'm loving many.
See?
We're being very comfortable in what we thought was going to be such an uncomfortable situation. So,
Who
risk.
thought that? Who thought that?
What about that? Thank you. Sean
Who
said
thought that?
we're gonna have fun. And she's right. We're
Right.
having fun with this topic. I so appreciate that. Risk mitigation is the goal, and how to make a choice as oppressed to approaching it to make the right choice. Okay, yes. So, and then Marvin says, times are different. Today, respectfully speaking, admiration or hinting anything sexual to a woman can land you in jail, even if you thought you know this woman, not being disrespectful. So, are you saying that when it talks to how to start being intimate, that in order to get intimate, you have to? I mean, do you under? I'm not sure I'm understanding.
I just think he's talking about the whole Me Too thing now. You have, and that's an unfortunate part about it, but that is why it's important. Why don't you just find somebody, settle down, and have a good life with? You know what I'm saying? Stop being out here in the world like this, people. Stop it. Just stop it. Then you don't have to worry about being put in jail. You you don't have to worry about saying things to people that can get you in jail. Because here's the thing. I was watching Trevor Noah. He said sexual harassment right around that space. I don't know if you're talking about this. This is all what I can just take from it when you're saying about anything sexual, when you're hinting anything sexual. If I'm not in a relationship with you, that is a turnoff to me. I don't, because it is only appreciated if it's someone that you're into. Outside of that, it's creepy to have someone hinting anything sexual. And why are you talking to me in that way? Because that's not respectful to a woman to be hinting around something sexual if we're not in that space yet.
We're at work and you're hinting. Not saying Marvin does this at all. I'm not
Right.
saying that.
Not
Let
to
me move
you.
this comment, because it's not what we're saying is not directed to Marvin. It's more in general. Well, Andrew Cuomo types. You don't want to be in an Andrew Cuomo situation.
Right.
So at the
Exactly.
workplace, hinting about, there are appropriate places, and like you say, if you're in a relationship with this person, or getting to know somebody, or you have to be at that point to welcome that. Like you say, it's creepy
Exactly.
when someone goes to third base and you all haven't made it on first. We're talking
Right.
about run the bases before. Don't try to get to third and I just met you. I need you to work the bases. So that's where we're
Because,
going.
yeah, no one wants to feel like they are a sexual object.
No, they don't. So I really want to know more about Bedroom Candy.
Okay.
So please tell us more about it.
So we have a line of products. That's the product of choice that I choose, only because it is probably, and I'm a toy user, probably one of the best quality toys out there on the market. Our products are exclusive to our company. We actually design our company. So Candy's partner is an actual toy designer. So all of our products, our soft line products, are vegan friendly. They're all healthy. There's no glycerin and glycol in the lubricants. There's just a high quality boutique line of sexual health and wellness products to get you from everyday to play, as I call it. And so, from a day perspective, I mean, we have a whole candy coated line, our makeup line. We have a skin collection. We have a women's wellness collection. We have a men's wellness collection. And then we move into seduction and arousal and wetness and things like that. So what we do as a company is that we create safe spaces for small groups of people to come together. And we do these, we call them parties, right? But basically they're just educational shopping experiences where we bring the shopping experience to you, right? So we bring out products, you get to touch it and taste it and feel it, get your questions answered, learn about them. And we take you through a whole process of intimacy into sex, right? So we have toys for you, toys for him, toys for two. How, if you have people with issues, things that we can give you. If you have a problem getting aroused, we have products for that, right? If you have products staying wet, we have products for that. If he can't stay aroused, we have products for that, right? We have all of these things that just kind of help you along the way and just to make you feel good about yourself. And then, of course, it's a business. So, you know, I bring on other team members with me. I have one of the largest teams in the company where we help people to make money, but we train you how to educate others in this segment and just have some fun, right? You want to break up the monotony of your life and go out there. Every time I go to work, I end up at a party is what I tell people, because it's just fun being around people, like-minded people who really want to get it right. Who really want to get it right, and you want to get it right. You know, I tell people, if you've ever woken up the next day, have you ever, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Wanda, but like, you know, you had sex with somebody who was an all-nighter and you woke up the next day and you felt like, oh, you're a little irritated down there. Have you ever felt that before? Like, woo, he put it on me. Yeah, you know, and people be like,
for that.
Right, but not. Because so this is what happens. People like, oh no, I'm always wet. People don't want to use lubricants because in their mind they think it's something's wrong with you. No, that's not it at all. You dried out throughout the process. He sucked up all of your moisture because the penis doesn't have moisture. It absorbs 50% of your moisture as soon as it enters you.
The penis absorbs 50% of your moisture as soon as it enters you.
Right. And then what they do the pull out method, right? So pull out, dries up, go in, takes your moisture. They like pulling out. Men, just stay in. We like it when you're in. I just want to say that. But, you know, they pull out and go in and pull out and go in, right? And what happens? Now you're starting to dry. Friction starts to creep in. And now you have these small tears inside the vaginal walls. Now you're more susceptible to irritations, infections, and diseases. Lube up. It's a good thing.
Lube up. That is, we're gonna add that to the grass green pumping, right. All of our things. Lube up.
Men don't want to wear condoms because that friction inside of that condom. Put 2 drops of lubrication inside of a condom. 1, the condom won't break, and 2, feels real great. And yes, it is a Black-owned company. Candy Burris is a Black woman. Mm-hmm.
So, yes. What did you say? So back to social norms. Do y'all think a lot of Black women are conditioned to be hard, which in turn rejects intimacy?
I do believe that women in general have taken on a male's role, but I also believe that men have put women in that position to take on the male role. You know, now we're the ones that have to make the moves, right? Now, my thing is, if you're going to force me to approach you first, you just put me in the male position. Don't ask me to now fall back after you made me the man in the relationship. Step up, men. It's time for you to play your part as men. We like when you approach. Don't be afraid of the rejection, right? So, and remember, I was talking about how men know how to protect themselves. Now you hear a lot of men saying stuff like, oh, I love it when a woman approach me. I love an aggressive woman. No, you don't. You're just trying to protect your ego, right? But you also put us in that position to now be the male dominant in that relationship. It's hard to fall back when I'm saying, I'll call you. Okay, let's go out. I'm setting the dates. It's too much. Ladies, stop doing that. We have to stop it. Let a man be a man.
I like that. I like that analogy. That makes sense. So James said, as we talk, men need to understand the value to self of intimacy. So should men enjoy intimacy? Can they? Should they?
They love it. They love it.
Because I don't think they get that as much. We talk about it as being intimate with your wife because one thing is intimacy. Like you said, women want intimacy, men want sex. So sometimes we leave out the intimacy for men because we think they're just after the sex. But so men actually love intimacy as well. I'm asking.
Men and women, we are human beings and we all want the same thing. Safe, healthy, intimate relationships with each other. We all want that. We all want it. When we talk about intimacy in women, I'm just talking about on the sex side. But outside of that bedroom, men want to be safe with you. And that is about intimacy. That's trust. That's respect. Men need that more than anyone.
So
Absolutely.
trust, respect. Is it the same for them? If they're not getting it, then they don't want to be intimate with you?
Well, no, because they're not trying to be intimate. They're just trying to have some sex. But as far as intimacy, why would you go to someone else to have? I have more conversations with married men, right? Because they're not having these conversations at home. I remember a good friend of mine would call me up every morning at 5:30 in the morning. Bless his little heart, because we both woke up early, and he would share with me all of his things that he's working on. And then one day he was getting back with his ex-wife, and he was super excited, but he was still calling me. And one day I said, why don't you call her and share that with her? It never dawned on him to share the work side of himself with this woman. She was so taken back when he shared what he was sharing with me. He called her up and said, like, this is what I'm working on. She was like, wow, I appreciate that. You respect my opinion. Have those conversations with your wives and your girlfriend. Right? Instead of building the intimacy with some outsider and then thinking that now you're in love with that person. No, you should have been having those conversations with the person that you're waking up to every morning.
And you can help get back to that point. And I think that's Absolutely. What a lot of people need, is to know where to go get help doing this. You coach, that is what the bedroom, they can link up with you at the bedroomblueprint.com. They can get the newsletter. And maybe that's all you really need, is how to get back to that place of love and intimacy with the one you're with, and where you're thinking that the grass is greener on the other side and the weeds have grown in yours. But now you can help get everything trimmed back to health and green again. And I think that's what we talking about, how to have healthy relationships. And so as I talk about how to have healthy relationships with he said, she said, in communication, it's definitely full circle, because sex plays a part in that as well. So again, give us a little bit more about Bedroom Candy.
So that's basically it. We are a network marketing company where we, go out and we educate, empower, and earn with this company. So we are pretty much the marketing arm for them. And we love what we do as educators for Bedroom Candy. So I always tell people, look, if you want to learn how to get into this business, hit me up. I'm more than welcome to talk to you about it and get you started. It is a business, and it's a great business, afforded me a great life. That's why I can snowbird. What is it? Snow?
You're a snowbird. You leave our snow and go fly to Florida.
Right. Every year. Right. It's great. Take my 2, great trips every year out the country. But yeah, it's an incredible company. And like I said, I like working with Candy. She's very accessible. To the leaders anyway. We're in the leadership group, but, we talk to her on a regular basis. She knocks it out for us all the time. We have incredible training, and that comes along with that. I don't need that training because I'm a certified.
You're the trainer.
Right. So I train on the things that I actually share with my coaching clients. I bring that to my team, anyone that signs up with me to do the business. And so it's just a great way to learn who you are as men and women. We have men and women in the business.
Really? Men do it as well?
Absolutely. Well, men need it too, right? And it's like, who's talking to men a lot about these topics, right? And Do they feel more comfortable talking to women about issues, or would they prefer to have a male that they talk to about issues?
I love
You know,
that.
yeah. And
So how
so
can they contact you?
the bedroom blueprint. If you go to work with me, there's information there. There's a little questionnaire you can fill out to work with me. If you want to host a party of your own, you can do that. That's under the party with me section. If you want to attend one of our events, or if you want some individual private coaching, that's under the private coaching sessions. So any way you need to reach me, you can reach me through thebedroomblueprint.com.
So people have gotten these stimulus checks. Maybe they can, when people say
Right.
7 streams of income, they can
Yep.
use Bedroom Candy to stream another income into their homes.
Absolutely. It is a very, look, you can join the business for as low as $99, right? 150 with tax and some shipping. And you make up to 60% of whatever the product sales that you have. So it's a very lucrative and easy comp plan to follow and structure. And so it's those for people who really just want to add an extra $1,000. I always tell people be committed to the product line, of course, into your business. But if you have an extra, I would say 6 to 8 hours a week to work, you could probably clear a good $1,000, $2,000 a month.
Wow. So
Yeah.
in these times of a pandemic, when people are looking for ways, they don't even have to leave their house necessarily to even do this, right?
No, you don't. Not anymore. Virtually, we do a lot of virtual events now. I do a lot of lives on social media. So if you're not afraid of the camera, it'll be great for you, and you don't have to. So until the world opens back up, right now, we are doing a lot of virtual business, which has been, I love it a lot because, you don't have to travel anywhere.
I love it. So right there is the website. Go to the website. You can do everything that Sean has mentioned today. You get to her that way, whether you want to subscribe to the newsletter, whether you want coaching, whether you want some products, whether you need to get that lube and keep it wet, whether everything you need, what we've discussed today can be got. You can get it all from the bedroomblueprint.com. I want to say a big thank you, Sean, for being the certified sexologist that you are, being part of the He Said, She Said team. She's also an admin of our Facebook group. She keeps things behind the scenes going for us as she runs her company. So just amazing woman, amazing at what she does. And I'm hoping you guys go to that website, get the newsletter, and find out some things. We're going to have a party, you guys. He said, she said, I'm going to set up the date with Sean when we get off of here. We're going to have some fun. And so I'm going to the website myself and hook up with Sean after this. So thank you guys for tuning in. I so appreciate you. Thank you again to Sean.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll see you all over on the He Said, She Said page, because I'm always over there watching you all and commenting on a lot of your posts. So I'll see you over there as well.
Yes. And get the newsletter, guys, because the virtual party is coming up. That it's in April, did you say?
April 4th, Sunday, April 4th. It's just
that's really soon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have one, He Said, She Said. We're going to have our own party. I'm feeling it. This is going to be fun with our He Said, She Said family. Join that Facebook group. I want you to. I am looking for people to like my Twitter page. I've been trying to give my Twitter a little bit of love. I am a Twitter beta host in Twitter Spaces. So I've been hanging out in the spaces. I'm going to try to bring Sean over so we can have a space about this same topic we're going to do over in Twitter as I host things in Twitter. So I love for you to come follow me on Twitter. That's what I'm on today. It's Wanda Said. He said, you get it? He said, she said, Wanda B said. So it's Wanda B said on Twitter. I want you to follow me on Twitter because I'm going to be having some pop-up shows in the spaces of Twitter Spaces. So thank you so much. And then I'm always here every Sunday, 2 p.m. at my favorite place. Oh, we have so many different shows. I'm really so proud of everything that IntellectualRadio.com does. And it was because of IntellectualRadio.com that I was able to even meet Sean and through Becoming Dateable and our friends at Becoming Dateable. So another shout out to Monica Payne, Eva Rue, Elle, that whole family. And so thank you so much. And thank you, Facebook, all our co-hosts who asked such valuable questions too. Kim Davis, Marvin, James Smith. Am I leaving anybody out? Oh, I see you, John. Great show. You learned a lot. Oh, thank you so much. Mika Chanel said, great show. So thank you, James Toussaint, like I said, and thank you so much. And the ones who didn't verbally come out, but I saw you back there. Thank you guys for chiming in. Yes, thank you. We so appreciate you. So I'm going to be back here, same time, same place, here on IntellectualRadio.com.
Oh, he said.